From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Waodo.
And welcome. Tonight, Progressive Governors Forum presents President Bola Tinubu's scorecard to members of the diplomatic corps, says reforms to reposition Nigeria for growth. Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board holds 2026 policy decision meeting, scraps UTME requirements for candidates seeking admission into colleges of education. Court fixes May 15 for hearing in suit challenging former President Goodluck Jonathan's eligibility to contest the 2027 presidential election. And authorities say an American and a French national who have returned to their countries from the cruise ship hit by the deadly hantavirus have tested positive. On business news, Dangote Group in partnership talks with Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund to expand investments across Africa.
On sports news tonight, Barcelona celebrate back-to-back Spanish La Liga triumph with a trophy parade through the streets of Catalonia.
We begin tonight with some form of reassurance from the governor of Imo State and chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Senator Hope Uzodimma, who insists that President Bola Tinubu is laying the foundation for a more competitive, credible, and economically stable Nigeria through bold reforms aimed at repositioning the country for long-term growth. Governor Uzodimma, who also serves as Director General of the Renewed Hope Ambassadors, stated this while addressing members of the diplomatic corps accredited to Nigeria in Abuja.
This meeting, convened by the Progressive Governors Forum and Renewed Hope Ambassadors under the leadership of Senator Hope Uzodimma, is aimed at engaging diplomats accredited to Nigeria. The conversation opened with the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, highlighting efforts by the federal government to stabilize the economy, expand infrastructure, and improve the welfare of citizens through ongoing reforms.
In our march to a $1 trillion economy, opportunities for collaboration at the state level, especially in sustainable infrastructure financing, investment promotion, skills development, innovative ecosystems, climate-smart agriculture, security cooperation, data-driven planning and monitoring, as well as labor migration, all exist.
Speaking at the event, the chairman of the forum and Director General of the Renewed Hope Ambassadors believes Nigeria is on the path to economic recovery through President Tinubu's bold reforms.
For decades, the petroleum subsidy regime in Nigeria functioned as the single largest organized corruption pipeline in our public finances. It was not only an economic distortion, it was an extraction system. Subsidies were claimed on imaginary volumes of petrol, whose volumes of imported subsidized petrol were rerouted across porous borders to neighboring countries.
In separate remarks, ambassadors at the meeting pledged their continued collaboration with Nigeria in promoting economic stability, peace, and prosperity.
I think that all international partners always try, and this is what we try to do at the level of the European Union, to align their projects with the federal government strategy, with the Renewed Hope agenda, in this case, of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yeah. When all hope were lost, when Liberia was on its knees, when we were dying, and rebels had taken over the entire country where there was no hope, it was Nigeria that pulled ECOWAS together and formed ECOMOC
Also speaking, the governor of Kaduna State and Deputy Director General of the Renewed Hope Ambassadors maintains that Nigeria remains committed to strengthening institutions and creating an enabling environment for investors to thrive under Tinubu's leadership.
Under the purposeful leadership of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, Nigeria remains steadfast in advancing democratic governance, deepening economic reforms, strengthening institutions, and creating a more enabling environment for investment and enterprise.
The meeting, which continued behind closed doors, had in attendance 29 ambassadors from different countries, representatives of governors of Delta and Akwa Ibom, serving and former ministers, serving senators, aides of the president, and directors of various directorates under the Renewed Hope Ambassadors Initiative.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu is in Nairobi, Kenya for the Africa-France Summit, which is taking place at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, with more than 30 other African heads of state and government in attendance. Speaking from Nairobi, Kenya, the Special Advisor on Policy Communication, Daniel Bwala, says the president is poised to lead conversations that underscore Africa's capacity to shape its own economic environment rather than relying on external support, to showcase Nigeria's reform progress and to advocate for deeper collaboration across Africa.
The meeting is going to focus on like 7 thematic areas. Fortunately for us, I think 6 of the 7 thematic areas happen to fall in line with the President's Renewed Hope, policy programs, which we have started implementing right from day one. Take, for example, when they talk about the international financial restructuring, we have seen that financial structuring that has taken place in Nigeria, which has given confidence on Naira. They talk about artificial intelligence, and we see what we're doing in Nigeria, deploying this technology, because we have a pool of population of the youth, people who are there to tap. The key areas, for example, in financial restructuring, what we have done with the unification of the foreign exchange, which has given confidence to our Naira. So Nigeria is not just participating, but also showing the example of what we have done, which the rest of Africa can also emulate. In the area of, for example, agriculture, if you look at what we're doing in Nigeria, and the opportunity that our landmass create, arable landmass, which is a fruitful landmass for investment, and the president has actually initiated those reforms in the agriculture already in Nigeria. So in other words, I am doing something to tell you I believe in it, and I'm seeing the result, and I'm asking you to come and participate, not just as bringing investment to Nigeria or Africa, but participating in an investment that you have, return on investment. So this is another area. In the blue economy, you see what we're doing in Africa and in Nigeria in particular. So it's exciting. Most of these thematic areas, I think, happen to fall in line with what the president is going to talk about.
Back home in Nigeria, ahead of the 2027 elections, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has revealed the political alliance, which he terms the Rainbow Coalition, will be adopted for the Rivers State election. Speaking during an inspection tour of some ongoing projects in the nation's capital, the minister says that stakeholders will meet and decide who will clinch the various tickets. Our correspondent, Kumbi Abuluwade, reports.
As rapid infrastructural development continues to shape the outlook of the nation's capital, a team from the Federal Capital Territory Administration, led by the FCT Minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, visits some ongoing road project sites to assess the level of work. Projects inspected include an access road in Karsana District, the 17 kilometers Day to Life Camp access road, collector roads within the Institution and Research District in Edo, and an access road in Tunga Madaki, expected to link Bill Clinton Drive along the airport road to surrounding communities. As the inspection tour concludes, the FCT minister approaches the press to give his assessment.
Today's another day. We are very happy with what we have seen on ground. We want to consider where you have the New Hope Estate. I think it's about 500 meters remaining for them to finish asphalting. I'm very happy, and then they promised that before the end of the month they will have finished the street lights. And now we're here. You can also see that it's almost completed. the bridge has been launched. In fact, they have started the one we directed them from here to Zuba. It's a wonderful thing. So we're happy, and all this will be part of our 3 years in office by Mr. President to be inaugurated. Quality jobs done by very good contractors.
Aside from the projects, the FCT minister also revealed that a political alliance, which he calls the Rainbow Coalition, will be adopted for the Rivers State election in 2027.
That is the essence of the Rainbow Coalition. We'll look at it. We'll look at where we have the strength, we'll look at where this will have the strength, and we'll compare notes, and we're going to vote accordingly.
Due to the peculiar political landscape in Rivers State, the focus now is on who will clinch the ticket for various parties as political aspirants continue to undergo screening ahead of the 2027 elections. From Abuja, Kumbi Aboluwaje, Channels Television News.
The lawmaker representing Yagba Federal Constituency in the National Assembly, Honorable Leke Abejide, has reaffirmed his commitments to developing a well-structured road network in the Ogbe and Obom communities in Yagba West and East local government areas of Kogi State. Addressing residents during visits to the various communities, Honorable Abejide says that grants totaling 710 million naira for 71 communities as part of ongoing efforts to drive grassroots development under the Leke Abejide Foundation.
Rough and bushy pathways greeted the convoy of the Leke Abejide Foundation train as it made its way to Ogbe community in Yagba West local government area of Kogi State. On arrival, residents in the community trooped out to welcome the lawmaker representing Yagba Federal Constituency in the National Assembly, Honorable Leke Abejide, alongside his wife, amid cheers and excitement. Addressing residents, he expressed dissatisfaction with the poor state of road infrastructure and pledged his commitment to constructing and improving road networks.
This is your road. If you are coming, the moment you pass Equities, the boundary, the rest, when you enter Kogi, everything bad. So I have decided that as we start from this axis, your people came some times ago to meet me at home, and I promise that first of all we link you to the other side, and then we face the other side.
The federal lawmaker also called on residents to mobilize support for President Bola Tinubu ahead of the 2027 general elections.
You have been doing well. Yeah, it has increased, we know. I said when you vote, let it be to the brim for the president of this country, President Aswaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu. If you like, you do my own. If you like, you don't do it.
Over 71 communities are expected to benefit from grants totaling 710 million naira as part of the Grassroots Development Initiative, with each community receiving 10 million naira for developmental projects.
He is not stopping as honorable. He will become the president of this nation.
The delegation later moved to a Obom community in Yagba East local government area, where the message of hope and development continued with additional donations to residents. They also visit Oga community and Omi community in Yagba West local government area, where Honorable Abejide urged residents to support President Tinubu.
We're in Oga community to present their own check of 10 million naira to them. And we want to know what is the project you want to use it for. Then, I know when it comes to my own election, you don't joke with it. I want to appeal, I need 95% of your votes, or if not, if possible, 100 for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Are you going to do it? Yes!
The outreach continued in Igbaruku community as the Leke Abejide Foundation extends its development campaign aimed at improving grassroots communities across Yagba Federal Constituency.
In part two, after the break, Vice President Kashim Shettima leads other dignitaries to Akure, the Ondo State capital, for the centenary birthday celebration of elder statesman Reuben Fasoranti. Please join us again. Welcome back. And if you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Progressive Governors Forum presents President Bola Tinubu's scorecard to members of the diplomatic corps, says reforms to reposition Nigeria for growth. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board holds 2026 policy decision meeting, scraps UTME requirement for candidates seeking admission into colleges of education. Court fixes May 15 for the hearing on a suit challenging former President Goodluck Jonathan's eligibility to contest in the 2027 election. And authorities say an American and a French national who have returned to their countries from the cruise ship hit by the deadly hantavirus have tested positive. As the political landscape continues to get heated up, the Young Progressives Party, the YPP Southwest Zone, says that it has all it takes to take Nigeria to the desired level of growth and development. Making a declaration at the party secretariat in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, leaders of the party say that they have an aspirant who has all required to fill the gap of governance in Nigeria. The party used the occasion to present its presidential candidate, Jide Filani, urging Nigerians to support a vibrant and visionary leader capable of repositioning the country for sustainable growth and development. Addressing supporters, Mr. Filani says that Nigeria requires purposeful leadership driven by policies that prioritize agriculture, industrialization, and critical infrastructure development. And to other stories now, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has announced 150 as the minimum cutoff mark for admission into Nigerian universities for the 2026 academic session. This decision was reached in Abuja at the 2026 policy meeting on admissions organized by the board with the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, and stakeholders from various tertiary institutions in attendance. Our correspondent, Dele Omoyeni, reports.
Thank you very much. May we be seated?
It's the 2026 annual policy meeting of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, which brings together critical stakeholders in tertiary education institutions across the country. The annual policy meeting provides a platform for university administrators and other stakeholders to discuss and fix cutoff marks for tertiary institutions. After some deliberations, the Minister of Education announces the new cutoff mark for 2026.
For universities, the minimum score 150 to be admitted to any other university, both public and private. The minimum score for you to be admitted to any monotechnic or polytechnic in this country today now stands at 100. If you score 100 less than 100, you cannot be admitted. For colleges of nursing, the minimum score is 150. Anything less than that, you cannot be admitted to any of the colleges of nursing.
Over the past 18 years, there is a continuing trend of lower minimum benchmarks as the mark for universities fell from 180, which was the cutoff mark, from 2008 to 2017 then, to 120 in 2017, and has fluctuated between 140 and 160 ever since. While nursing colleges is still pegged at 150, and that of polytechnics remained at 100.
As it takes over the proceedings.
The registrar, however, used the occasion to seek the continued support of university authorities in the admission process.
The successive ministers have been saying it since 10 years ago. Don't admit outside caste. But you will go and put pressure on the minister. And that was why the minister, Adamu, at one point, condoned up to 2020. And we had no over 1 million of such admitted people were processed. But out of this 1 million, less than 400 had the O-level result.
To ease the burden of examination management, the Minister of Education, who is presiding over the policy meeting, announces a new government policy.
And today, for the colleges of education, no need to do UTME again. Please clap for yourself.
Just as it reads the Rights Act to university authorities on admission.
Please, do not admit outside the caps. If we found any aid of decision wanting, you will be severely penalized. We have to protect the integrity of the process we've collectively agreed on.
The policy meeting, which pegged the cut-off mark for university admission seekers at 150, is an annual exercise organized by the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board in conjunction with vice-chancellors, registrars of polytechnics, and provosts of colleges of education. Daily Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
President Bola Tinubu has described elder statesman and national leader of the pan-Yoruba socio-political group Afenifere, Reuben Fasoranti, as an upright, committed and courageous leader worthy of emulation. This message was conveyed by Vice President Kashim Shettima, who represented the president during Fasoranti's centenary birthday celebration.
Personalities from all walks of life converge on the country home of elder statesman Reuben Fasoranti in Akure, the Ondo State capital, for the celebration of his 100th birthday. The state governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, led a delegation of current and former governors and other political leaders to receive Vice President Kashim Shettima, who is representing President Bola Tinubu at the occasion. Governor Ayedatiwa glorified God for the exemplary life of Pa Fasoranti and his attainment of 100 years. He eulogized the celebrants for his uprightness, doggedness, and commitment to the well-being of his people.
Pa Reuben Fasoranti is not merely an elder statesman, he is an institution. Through political transitions, national uncertainty, and changing times, he has remained remarkably steadfast, firm in principle, disciplined in conduct, and fearless in defending what is right.
Pa Fasoranti's sister presented the celebrant speech where he called for unity among the Afenifere group and Nigeria at large.
Unity is our strength, and this unity is our downfall. To my children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, you are my crowns. I taught you that there is joy in giving, and what doesn't give, continue on that path. Be truthful, be content, be kind to all.
The executive governor of Equities State.
Addressing the gathering, the vice president commended the celebrant for his long years of service and total commitment to the service of humanity. He prayed that his legacies endure to serve as an example to future generations.
On behalf of the government and people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, on behalf of my boss, President Bola Tinubu, GCFR, I thank you for your service to the nation. I thank you for your service to education. We thank you for your service to democracy. We thank you for your service to the cause of justice. We thank you for the wisdom you have offered across generations. We thank your family too for lending you to Nigeria and for bearing the weight that often comes with the life of a public conscience.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Pa Reuben Fasoranti was born on May 11, 1926 in Usho, in our local government area of Ondo State. This celebration encompasses his career as an educationist, administrator, pro-democracy activist, prominent politician,
foremost Afenifere leader and one of the founding fathers of Ondo State.
Also, a very happy birthday to him. We turn our attention to security now in Plateau State, where the governor, Caleb Mutfwang, has continued efforts to reassure residents of government's commitment to ending renewed attacks in parts of the state. The governor, alongside the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Bernard Doro, on Monday visited communities recently attacked in Barkinladi and Bassa local government areas, where at least 18 people were killed in separate incidents. The governor's first stop was Nding community under Fan district in Barkinladi local government area, where 7 people were killed in Monday's attack. Meeting grieving families and community members, Governor Mutfwang stressed that the state will not surrender to criminal elements and vowed that the perpetrators of the attacks will be brought to justice. The governor also encouraged residents, especially farmers, to prepare for the farming season, assuring them that security measures are being strengthened to protect the farming communities. From Barkinladi, the governor's convoy navigated the difficult and rugged terrain leading to Mbra Zongo community in Bassa local government area, where he highlighted the remoteness of the area and the challenges residents face daily. He commended the community for not taking laws into their hands despite the provocation. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Bernard Doro, also commiserated with the victims, assuring residents the relief materials will be provided to the affected families, while efforts are on to secure vulnerable communities.
Reverend Dr. Daniel Gia, do you agree?
Still ahead on the news at 10, Dangote Group in partnership talks with Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund to expand investments across Africa. That's in business news. Please join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10 on Channels Television. We head to the courts now, where Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court Abuja has adjourned proceedings in a suit challenging the eligibility of former President Goodluck Jonathan to contest the 2027 presidential election following the absence of the plaintiff and his counsel in court. Justice Lifu fixed May the 15th, 2026 for hearing, warning that punitive costs may be awarded against the plaintiff if there is another failure to appear before it. At the day's proceedings, counsel to the defendants, Chris Uche, drew the court's attention to the absence of the plaintiff, despite the matter being adjourned at his instance. The court subsequently asked the registrar whether any formal communication had been received explaining the absence of the plaintiff, but the registrar responded that no such letter was before the court. Issues surrounding service of hearing notices also emerged during proceedings, as it was revealed that the Independent National Electoral Commission and the Attorney General of the Federation had not been served, and that's contrary to an earlier order of the court made on May the 8th, 2026. Counsel to the defendants maintains his application for the matter to be struck out. However, the court opted to give the plaintiff another opportunity, adjourning the matter to May the 15th, 2026, and directing that all parties be duly served before the next date. An Islamic cleric standing trial alongside others over an alleged coup conspiracy against President Bola Tinubu's administration has told the Federal High Court Abuja through a video-recorded statement that he had cautioned those behind the plot that the mission would not succeed. The video, played in open court during proceedings before Justice Joyce Abdul Malik, featured Sheikh Sani Abdul Qadir explaining how he became linked to the alleged scheme through an associate identified as Sanda. According to the cleric, he was approached on behalf of a senior military officer said to be Colonel Maji, seeking spiritual guidance and prayers concerning plans to topple the government. Abdul Qadir also says that after conducting prayers and consultations, he warned that the operation was doomed to fail and predicted that insiders within the group would eventually leak information about the plan. The cleric also told investigators that money was subsequently transferred to him for prayer sessions and charity, while names of individuals connected to the alleged operations were supplied for mention during the prayers. In the recorded interview, Abdul Kadri denied taking money to support any unconstitutional act, insisting that the funds were strictly tied to religious activities. Although he admitted knowing that a coup referred to the forceful overthrow of a government by the military, he says that he failed to alert security agencies because he was unsure of who to approach with that information. He maintains that in the video, that he was neither tortured nor intimidated during interrogation, insisting that his statement was made voluntarily. The case was then adjourned to May the 12th for further proceedings. And away from the courts, the federal government and its partners have increased efforts towards strengthening the capacity of Nigeria's healthcare delivery system. And this is to help deal with disease outbreaks with the launch of a collaborative initiative targeting public health institutions. Speaking on the occasion, Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isaac Adekunle Salako, says the initiative is designed to strengthen health institutions and improve the well-being of Nigerians, especially in vulnerable population. It says that Nigeria continues to face a double burden of repeated disease outbreak alongside a growing number of people living with long-term conditions. The 4.2 million euro program funded by the European Union and implemented by the World Health Organization in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare over a 4-year period will help strengthen core functions of selected public health institutions and detect outbreaks earlier. It would also share information faster and reduce the negative impact of poor health outcomes in the country. Now to company news. Unilever Nigeria PLC, one of the leading and fast-moving consumer goods companies in the country, has held its annual general meeting for the 2025 financial year right here in Lagos. The Shell Hall of the Mason Center played host to this year's AGM, being the 101st, which brought together management of the organization as well as shareholders, just as it recorded an impressive revenue and high dividend for the year under review.
They paid a lot of money.
The 101st annual general meeting of Unilever Nigeria PLC brings together management of the company and its shareholders to have a closer look at the organization's performance for the 2025 financial year.
I'll take the observation very shortly. Please go ahead, sir.
To set the ball rolling, the company's chairman, Mr. Bolaji Balogun, highlights the agenda for the meeting.
I hereby lay before this meeting the reports of your directors, the audited financial statements, and the reports of the Statutory Audit Committee and the independent auditors thereon.
According to the chairman of Unilever Nigeria PLC, all hands are on the plow, which continues to put the company on a sound footing.
Everyone in our route to market, has worked very, very hard to deliver some very, very stellar numbers. The performance is strong. Overall cash generation is very strong. The dividend, is strong, and perhaps, I believe a record dividend to shareholders. The direction of travel is an interesting one.
For the 2025 financial year, Unilever Nigeria PLC recorded a 214 billion naira revenue, representing 43% growth.
We're leveraging on our power brands as well, ensuring that we stand out from the clutter, ensuring that Nigerians truly desire our brands, and also that they brighten everyday life for all. And therefore, we ensure that whatever we promise, we deliver with our products. And that is what has been driving our growth over the years, especially last year.
It's been a performance of consistent, profitable volume growth, and that has been driven by the innovations that we've brought up in the business in the last couple of years, as well as operational efficiency, which has helped us deliver profitable margins and has then resulted to improved shareholder value return.
From the figures revealed and projections for the future, shareholders express optimism of what is to come going forward.
There's much increase in revenue and gives me pleasure for the future that there will be more dividend in the future.
Today is historical because Unilever has given us the highest dividend so far. And not only that, the price in the NGX market is very, very high.
Given its recorded performance for the year under review, Unilever Nigeria PLC says it will keep its focus on long-term value creation, keep investor confidence targeted at safeguarding a sustainable long-term growth.
Let's continue in the world of business now with Will Ebong. Over to you, Will. Thank you, Anne. And the world's largest sovereign wealth fund manager, Norges Bank Investment Management, is exploring a partnership with Dangote Group to expand investments across Africa. The discussions followed a high-level meeting between Dangote Group President Aliko Dangote and Norges Bank Investment Management CEO Nicolai Tangen. Norwegian sovereign wealth fund oversees assets valued at about $1.9 trillion. According to reports, the proposed partnership will focus on sectors including power, energy, renewables, agriculture, fertilizer, and cement. Analysts say the move reflects growing global investor interest in Africa's infrastructure and industrial sectors as Dangote Group continues to expand across the continent. Now, as the debt profile of several states continues to rise, the Central Bank of Nigeria has warned that growing reliance on borrowing rather than internally generated revenue is becoming unsustainable and could pose risk to monetary stability. And this comes amid persistent inflationary pressures and an ongoing banking sector recapitalization drive. Now, we say the director at Quarters Economics, David Adeoye, he explained that CBN's warning to subnationals is something they need to take seriously. Now, First Holdco is deepening its comeback story as the banking group moves to strengthen its capital base to 1 trillion naira in what analysts describe as a bold push to compete more aggressively in Nigeria's evolving banking landscape. The proposal, which will be presented to shareholders at the company's upcoming annual general meeting, is part of a wider strategy to reinforce the group's balance sheet and position itself for long-term growth. The capital raise could come through a combination of public offers, rights issues, private placements, or other equity instruments across both local and international markets. The development follows a remarkable first quarter performance from First Holdco. The group reported a 72% surge in profit before tax to 321 billion naira in the first quarter of 2026, a result that pushed the company ahead of GTCO, UBA, and Access Holdings in the latest banking profits rankings, second only to Zenith Bank among Tier 1 lenders. Market watchers say the strong performance reflects a dramatic turnaround under the leadership of Chairman Femi Otedola, who has played a central role in repositioning the financial group. In 2025, First Holdco absorbed more than 830 billion naira in impairment charges to clean up legacy bank bad loans, a move many investors viewed as painful but necessary. That cleanup appears to be paying off, with the bank now delivering stronger core earnings, improved asset quality, and one of the highest returns on equity in the banking sector. Investor confidence has also improved sharply following the first quarter earnings release. First Holdco shares rallied strongly in the Nigerian exchange, adding billions of naira to the company's market value and further boosting Femi Otedola's stake in the group. Analysts now believe First Holdco may be re-entering a re-rating phase as the market begins to price in stronger earnings, higher dividend expectations, and a more stable balance sheet. For many investors, the big question now is whether First Holdco can sustain this momentum and reclaim its position as one of Nigeria's most dominant banking groups. And from there, we head to the domestic equities market. We started the new week on a record high. Here's Laddie Williams.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, the second trading week of May, that's kicked off in the green. And it seems this month is smiling on the banks after a rough end to the trading month of April. And we see the Tier 1 lenders, they're topping today. The Fugas made up of First Holdco, UBA, GTCO, Access Corp, Zenith, all in the green. But we see First Holdco, that's led the pack today, 9.95% advance with investors reacting to the Q1 earnings and that 1 1 trillion naira capital base target set by the company. There was a market mover today. Dangote Cement Group with a market cap of 19.91 trillion naira. That led the gains today. A lot of news swirling around this one with the possibility of a London listing. Also, Norwegian sovereign wealth fund eyeing a partnership with Dangote Group there, and that's given the bulls momentum today to kick off this trading week.
Thank you, Laddie. We now turn to the closing performance across major global markets. And that's business news. I am Will Ibang. Is back to Anne for more on the news at 10. Thank you, Will. Outside our shores, French President Emmanuel Macron has announced 23 billion euros investment in Africa, 14 billion from French companies and 9 billion from African companies mobilized through the France-Africa Summit holding in Kenya, the first Anglophone country to do so. More than 30 African leaders are gathered in the capital Nairobi as France seeks new deals and partnerships. Speaking earlier, President Macron said that Africa and France are equal partners with common objectives. Let's now join Simon Pusey with more international news and around the world in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. An American and a French national who have returned to their home countries, having left a cruise ship hit by a deadly outbreak of hantavirus, have tested positive, according to authorities. In total, 7 cases of hantavirus linked to the MV Hondias have been confirmed, with 2 other cases suspected. The US Health Department has said a second American national on the repatriation flight has also shown mild symptoms, adding that both passengers had travelled back in biocontainment units out of an abundance of caution. French Health Minister Stéphanie Rist said a woman was isolating in Paris and her health was deteriorating, with 22 contacts traced. 3 passengers have died after travelling on the ship, 2 of whom were confirmed to have had the virus.
The next flight will be to the Netherlands, which will be taking citizens from Germany, Belgium, Greece and some of the crew. Then various flights scheduled for today will follow. Canada, Turkey, France, Great Britain, Ireland and the United States will disembark as their scheduled flights arrive.
This is not another COVID. And the risk to the public is low. So they shouldn't be scared and they shouldn't panic.
A man charged with attacking the White House Correspondents Association dinner in Washington, D.C. last month has pleaded not guilty. Cole Thomas Allen was charged with federal gun crimes and attempting to assassinate U.S. President Donald Trump. The gun charges include using a firearm during a crime of violence and interstate transportation of a firearm with intent to commit a felony. Allen appeared in court on Monday in an orange jumpsuit and was shackled at the wrists and feet. Prosecutors allege that Allen attempted to storm past a security checkpoint and fired a shot at the event at a Washington Hilton hotel.
Cole Allen's journey of accountability in the criminal justice system starts today. This was an attempted assassination of the President of the United States, with the defendant making clear what his intent was. And that intent was to bring down as many of the high-ranking cabinet officials as he could.
A body found in New South Wales is thought to be that of a man wanted over a murder of 3 people in a small Australian town in January. Julian Ingram was on bail for domestic violence offences at the time of the killings of his pregnant ex-partner Sophie Quinn, her friend and her aunt in Lake Cargagilo, around 450 kilometres west of Sydney. All were shot. Police said on Monday that a man's body, understood to be Ingram, was discovered 50 kilometres northwest of where the murders happened. He was last seen on January the 22nd, and police say the body appears to have been there for some time.
National Parks and Wildlife Service made police aware of an abandoned vehicle located in the Round Hill Nature Reserve, about 100 kilometres northwest of Lake Jellicoe. A short time ago, police arrived on scene. It's confirmed that this is the vehicle driven by Julian Ingram. Next to this vehicle, police have also located a male body in a very decomposed state.
And a painting stolen from a Jewish art collector by the Nazis during World War II has been found in the home of descendants of a notorious Dutch SS collaborator. Portrait of a young girl by Dutch artist Toon Kelder is believed to have hung for decades in the home of Hendrik Seyfarth's family. It had belonged to Jewish art dealer Jacques Goudsticker, who died while fleeing the Nazi invasion of the Netherlands in 1940, leaving behind a collection of more than 1,000 paintings. The case was unearthed by a man who said he was a descendant of Seyfarth and that he was disgusted to learn his family had kept the artwork for years. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. The National Sports Commission has announced that 20 sports have been picked to feature at this year's National Sports Festival in Enugu State. The Commission explained that its decision to come up with 20 sports for the Games is in line with the model being used for the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland. It also expressed confidence that the 2026 edition will set new standards for funding and organization in the history of the Games. The event, tagged the Coast City Games, will hold from November 27 to December 11. Then Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored from the penalty spot to give Leeds a point in the 1-1 draw with Tottenham. The England international scored from 12 yards after Matthew Stale kicked Leeds captain Ethan Ampadu in the head in the penalty box. Stale also gave Tottenham the lead early in the second half, curling a shot beyond the dive of Carl Darlow. Tottenham remain 2 points above the relegation zone in 17th and will focus on their final 2 games to ensure they preserve their Premier League status. And Barcelona players have celebrated back-to-back triumph as they paraded through the street of Catalonia after being crowned champions of the Spanish La Liga. Barcelona captured the league title for the 29th time with a 2-0 win over rival Real Madrid at the Camp Nou on Sunday. Thousands of Barcelona fans took to the street of the city to enjoy the parade organized to celebrate the title. Players and technical staff picked the team's return to the iconic Camp Nou after a 2-year absence as one of the great moments of the season. That sports is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. Progressive Governors Forum have presented President Bola Tinubu's scorecard to members of the diplomatic corps. They said the reforms are to reposition Nigeria for growth. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Have a wonderful night rest.